How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I'm going to be doing my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 5, which was titled More Time Than You Know. And of course, spoiler warning for this episode, a pretty major event happens in this episode, so yeah, if you haven't seen the episode, then stop watching the review. But Grace, unfortunately, meets her demise in this episode, and that's kind of like the big moment of the episode. And I actually kind of got spoiled for it. I wasn't actually expecting her to die in this episode. I know some people were, but with Finch and his treatment, it seemed to have been working. I mean, up until this episode, it seemed like things were working with his treatment. So I was like, all right, maybe they'll be able to get Grace to have that same kind of treatment for her bite. But that doesn't really happen. Although at one point in this episode, when Mo kind of gets Grace back to the train car where she can kind of do the radiation treatment, and June kind of walks her through it, which is pretty strange that Mo was able to pull that off. I think she's supposed to only be 8 in this show. Yeah, that was kind of strange that she was able to maneuver all those, medical things to do that kind of process on on Grace. But it doesn't work anyway, which it was kind of sad in that moment when Grace actually does die and she turns into a walker and Mo can't, put her down. That actually was a little bit sad, not gonna lie. I did kind of feel bad for Mo, even though I'm not that big of a fan of her character, and especially what she ends up doing by the end of this episode. She goes with Shrike with her little group back to Padre, and it's like, really, Mo, what are we doing? I guess it's because she's just, so sad about what happened to Grace, and she doesn't want to feel that pain again, and she's, trusting Shrike and all her BS, which is just annoying. And to see Morgan kind of being powerless in that scene to do anything to try and get her back, and Shrike just kind of stopping him from doing anything. That was annoying as all get out. And I don't know, just overall, this episode was actually weirdly boring. I gotta be honest. It was strangely boring for an episode with, such a big major death. And I guess, I think it made sense for them to kill Grace ultimately. Like, that, this is just my opinion. I think it makes sense for them to kill her off, because this whole thing with the cure and whatnot, like, if the cure is kind of mass produced, so to speak, you really lose all stakes with the walkers and the show's over. Like, the Walking Dead universe would be over. I talked a little bit about this in my episode 4 review, but if the cure actually is something that works well, which apparently in this episode we see that it doesn't, because Finch's bite is actually affecting him now, and I'm worried for him a little bit. We'll see what happens with all that, but that is kind of something that I am glad that they decided, they kind of realized, all right, we can't have this cure just, be the end all be all to walker bites, because if that's the case, there really is no more story to unfold anymore. There are no more stakes. There's no threat in this universe apart from, I guess, the people in it. But it's like, that's not always interesting. Then what's the point of it even being, a zombie apocalypse show? So, yeah, I'm glad that Grace actually was written to be killed off. I did like her character. I never was a huge fan of her character, for being honest, but I didn't hate her or anything. She had some good moments, and I just honestly felt bad for Morgan in that scene where he actually has to put her down and stuff like that. It was pretty sad, and I do like Morgan, so it was unfortunate for him, and I guess unfortunate for Mo, but Mo didn't really know Grace that long. It's still sad, though. I'm not saying it isn't for her character. And it really was annoying seeing Mo go off with Shrike, man. I did not want to see that happen. And I really wanted her to stick with Morgan on this one. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I wish I wasn't spoiled, though, for the death. I didn't really even care that much, though, which just kind of goes to show you that this show, I don't really care that much about it. I'll be watching until the show ends, obviously, but it's just, I don't know, this episode on its own, I feel like they could have just done a better way of making things more intense. I think part of the reason, honestly, is I just knew she died. That probably kind of hurt the episode for me, because, knowing what was going to happen, it kind of takes out all of the intense, moments out of the episode. So that's never a good thing. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, I was, I didn't want to be spoiled for the episode. It just kind of happened on accident. But I don't know. I really do think it could have just been better paced, if anything. Like, a lot of the episode just takes place with Mo and Grace in that train car, and I don't know. It wasn't really that interesting, to be honest. I feel like they could have done more with it, made it a bit more intense. But yeah, the scene where she actually does end up dying was pretty well executed, in my opinion. And I don't know. I guess there was a few shootouts in this episode when they're on the boat, which it's cool. I do kind of like the swampy location for this season so far, with all the kind of overgrown trees and stuff like that, and the marshiness of it all. It is kind of neat to a degree. And I guess, some of the stuff on the boat was interesting. But yeah, I think next week is the mid-season finale of the season already, because there's only 12 episodes this season for the final one. That's pretty crazy. It's crazy that we're already halfway through the season. But I'm interested to see what happens next. I still am. And this whole Cure storyline, we'll see what happens with that and Padre and all that. Hope Morgan can get back with Mo and all that. So, yeah, there you guys go. That's kind of my brief thoughts on the episode. I'm going to miss Grace a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see how this affects Morgan going further. I mean, it already is affecting him a lot, obviously. And Lenny James' performance in the episode was great, as always. He's always like a staple in the episodes, as like you can always rely on Lenny James to give a great performance no matter what. But yeah, it's not like the worst episode of the season, I don't think. I don't know what the worst episode of the season is. I didn't love episode 3. I know a lot of people did, but I don't know. However, I do wish it could have been a little bit more intense at certain moments. And this Padre storyline, I'm not loving it. I'm really not. But it does seem like something that's going to be occurring throughout the rest of the episodes, unfortunately. Oh, man. But yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below on this episode. What did you guys think about Grace? Do you think this was the right move to kill her off? Again, was pretty sad, especially in the moment where she does die. But I think it makes sense. You don't want to ruin the stakes for the show. You want people to still get infected by walker bites and all that. So, yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below. What do you guys think about this episode? Maybe you loved it. And if you did, that's all right. I didn't hate the episode. I kind of feel lukewarm on like all of the episodes so far this season. But I don't know, which isn't necessarily a good sign. But I hope next week's episode's good. I mean, I think everyone does. But yeah, with that being said, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and check out my Letterboxd and Twitter down in the description. And yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.